Have you ever stopped to reflect on how much God cares about the people around you? The people in your life play a key role in your destiny. That's why the wrong influences can keep you from fulfilling the purpose He has planned for you. In this video, you'll discover why, as someone chosen by God, it's sometimes necessary to distance yourself from certain people, including friends and family. You will better understand God's calling for your life and how it fits into His bigger plan. Make sure to watch this video until the end so you don't miss any details. If you're new here and haven't yet subscribed to this channel, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. When you accept God's calling, your life changes completely. It no longer belongs solely to you. It becomes guided by your Creator. One of the first signs of this transformation is noticing a distance from the things and people that once brought comfort and security. Maybe God is already leading you through this process, but the human heart often resists the idea of leaving loved ones behind. This happens because many times we don't understand the reason behind it. One reason for this is that your progress may attract negative feelings from those around you. Not everyone will understand or accept your growth. In some hearts, insecurity can give way to jealousy and envy. These feelings can turn close people into instruments used by the enemy to try to divert you from your path. God knows this, which is why He often separates us from these situations early in the journey. The dreams He places in your heart are like delicate seeds that need protection. Sharing these dreams with the wrong people can crush them before they even begin to grow. In our excitement, it's natural to want to share the blessings we receive, but not everyone will celebrate with you. Some people, even unintentionally, may discourage you or make you doubt what God has promised. The Bible reminds us that the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Jeremiah 17:9. God sees what we cannot. He understands the hidden intentions in the human heart. This was the case with Joseph. He received dreams from God that revealed a great purpose for his life. When he shared these dreams with his brothers, he became the target of hatred and scorn. The jealousy they felt turned into a cruel plan to take Joseph's life. But God was with him. What seemed like the end of his journey was actually the path God used to elevate Joseph to his destiny. He became the governor of Egypt and was used to save many lives. God may be asking you to distance yourself from certain people to protect the plans He has for you. You need to be careful with whom you share your visions. Dreams are promises from God that need to be nurtured with faith and protected from destructive influences. Sometimes separation is necessary to open new paths. God calls us to leave what's familiar and trust Him for a new beginning. That's what happened with Abraham. God called him to leave his homeland, his family, and everything familiar to him. It was a radical change, but one that was necessary for Abraham to live the fullness of God's promise. Sometimes, God has to take you out of environments that limit your growth. It's not always easy to leave behind people or places that are part of your story. But God desires something greater for you. He removes influences that can compromise His purpose and opens the door to something new. That's why Abraham had to separate from Lot. Even though they had walked together for a long time, Lot was not part of the promise. After the separation, God renewed His covenant with Abraham and revealed more details about His plan. When God asks us to distance ourselves, it's because He wants to give us clarity and peace. It's possible to love people and live in peace, even from a distance. The journey to fulfilling God's calling is individual. He never removes anything without a purpose and always has something better prepared. Trust in Him and be ready to receive what He has in store for you. When we understand that the journey to fulfilling God's calling is individual, we realize that not everyone can walk with us through every step. It can be hard to accept this, but it's in that space of separation that God works in our hearts, strengthening our faith and preparing us for something greater. We often wonder why certain relationships need to be left behind. The answer lies in how God shapes our character. He wants us to learn how to trust Him completely without depending on human approval. Isolation can feel painful, but it's also an opportunity to experience deep intimacy with God. It was during Joseph's time of solitude that he experienced God's favor in powerful ways, even in the midst of hardship. Additionally, God uses these separations to teach us how to hear his voice more clearly. Without distractions and outside opinions, we can understand his will more precisely. The Bible shows us that after Abraham separated from Lot, God spoke to him again and revealed more details about his promise. Similarly, when we distance ourselves from influences that are not part of God's plan, we step into a place of greater revelation. It's important to remember that God does not call us to eternal isolation, but to a season of preparation. He removes influences that weaken our faith so we can receive connections and opportunities aligned with his purpose. God knows the exact moment to bring new people into our lives, people who will be blessings in our journey, not obstacles. If you're going through a period of separation, don't see it as abandonment, but as an invitation to trust and surrender completely. The loneliness you feel now is the soil where God is planting something new. Joseph, Abraham, David, and many others went through this process before reaching their promises. Joseph went from the prison to the palace, and Abraham became the father of a great nation. What seemed like a lonely path became a journey of victory and testimony. In the same way, God is writing a story in your life. Every tear, every sacrifice, and every step of faith is part of his perfect plan for you. Keep walking with confidence, knowing that at the right time, you will see his promise fulfilled. When we understand that every sacrifice and step of faith is part of God's perfect plan, we gain the strength to keep going, even when the road feels difficult. Knowing that the promise will be fulfilled gives us hope during challenges, but it also reminds us that the process requires patience and complete trust in his wisdom. It is during this process that God tests and strengthens our hearts. He teaches us to set aside our own expectations and embrace the plans he has prepared, plans that often go beyond what we can imagine. Joseph, for example, could never have predicted that his years of suffering would lead him to the highest position in Egypt. Even when he seemed forgotten, he remained faithful, knowing that God is faithful to his promises. Just like Joseph, we are called to trust, not only in the final destination, but also in the journey. Every step, no matter how lonely it may seem, is part of a bigger plan. Many times, God allows a period of waiting to teach us to rely more on him than on our circumstances. When everything around us feels uncertain, he becomes our only source of direction and security. During these moments of waiting, it's natural to feel doubt and weariness. However, it's precisely in that place of weakness that God's grace shows up most powerfully. He reminds us that we are not alone. The Bible says, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles." Isaiah 40:31. God is working even when we can't see it. He turns pain into testimonies and leads us to places we never imagined. The key is to remain steadfast, knowing that just as an eagle must face storms to reach greater heights, we too must pass through strong winds to arrive at our destination. So while you wait for the promise to come to pass, don't lose hope. Keep seeking, praying, and trusting. God is faithful and never forgets his promises. He is preparing something extraordinary for you. At the right time, you'll look back and realize that every struggle was necessary to shape you and strengthen you to receive everything he had planned. Walk in faith, knowing that your God is faithful and powerful to fulfill everything he has promised. What he started, he will finish. If this message has impacted you, like this video and subscribe to the channel to receive more continuous messages of motivation. See you in the next video.